Today, we will be exposing B2C viral apps that charge $4 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month. You've seen these apps on Twitter, X, they're making millions of dollars. How? This week, we will be exposing the not so secret strategy that these apps use to print millions of dollars. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so I got Gus here. Gus is a researcher at Starter Story. He's put together a massive list of B2C apps doing this strategy. We're going to go over a very specific example. So Gus, if you want to kick us off.
Hey, so I was doing some research. By research, I mean scrolling Twitter. And let me share my screen and show you the tweet that I saw that really intrigued me. So shout out to this guy, whoever he is, Guillaume. And this was a couple days ago. He said, we've entered a TikTok multi-account led hyper growth era for apps. And then he lists all these different apps, some of which I've heard of, like I've heard of TurboLearn. We've obviously talked to the guy from Cal AI, and then a bunch of others that I had never really heard of. And he just lists the app, how much they're making, how many views they're getting, et cetera, et cetera. And got a good amount of views on this tweet, right? And so it reminded me of, we recently published a video with David Park, part 2. I have it pulled up here. It's the $10 million AI SaaS playbook. And if you haven't watched it, go watch it. But in this, he talks a lot about, right, how they grew Jenny AI. And he talks a lot about how they did it through all these TikTok accounts, which I thought was super interesting. And so when I was looking at this tweet, I just thought, let's go see what some of these apps are doing, how much they're making, what these TikToks look like. Yeah. Because I just kind of had to know. Yeah. So I just picked 3. So let's look at the first one. Yeah. Maybe before I jump in,
what changed and why is everybody doing this?
That's a good question. I don't know if maybe we might cut this, but I don't really know what changed. I wonder if what changed is some people started doing it. I don't know who that some people are. Maybe someone like Jenny AI and other apps like that started doing it. And now all these apps are like, hey, let's try this too. And it's working. TikTok had a moment, right, where it was going to be taken down in the US, but it came back. Yeah. I wonder if people realized, or in that, a couple of days when it was offline, or really one day, we're like, damn, this is a really powerful tool. Let's max this shit out. Yeah. That would be that'd be some off the, cuff ideas of that. It would be interesting to see what you think or what people watching, what they think. But yeah, that's kind of some thoughts there.
Yeah. My thoughts are that it's just, this idea has, I guess, something that can be gamed. And it reminds me of once SEO was proven and a proven strategy, and because everyone's eyeballs were searching on Google, then it became this thing where, and this is a few years ago, where you would just pay for backlinks and you could game the algorithm and just throw a ton of money at the algorithm and just stuff keywords into pages and that sort of thing. And there was this moment of time where you could just go bonkers on SEO just by throwing money at the problem. This feels like that version of that for the TikTok era. But I could be wrong. I don't know if this will last forever, but it's clearly working now.
Yeah, as you say that, it reminded me of I just saw this tweet, it was 2021 or whatever, when there was all these threads on Twitter going around that were just blowing accounts up. Yeah. And that was another, I think, kind of moment in time like this where people realized, oh, this shit is working right now. Let me do it. I remember reading all these threads about people or business or whatever it was, books. Yeah. And I think it's Dickie Bush, another guy that you've interviewed on Starter Story. He's talked about that. That's when he started growing his account. Yeah. And so I wonder if this is a similar.
This feels like one of those big moments in time where if you act fast, you can rack up a lot of dollars and also build a, generational wealth type of business in a very short span of time.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so let's go into the first one then. The first one I just picked from this list was Locket App, 300,000 MRR, etc. So just to show you what this app is, which all these apps are just so funny to me. This is essentially it's a friendship app where you can have a widget on your phone that has a real-time or updated picture of what's going on in your life. Think of it kind of like a Snapchat. And you showed me this actually, but there's an app or a website called Sensor Tower where you can kind of get some information on these apps. And according to Sensor Tower, last month, This app had 1 million downloads, 300K per month. I don't know how much matters, but 13 in social networking. And if you look at the like review store, you can see like ratings. It's like 400,000 ratings.
Holy smokes.
I've never even heard of this damn app, which is crazy. Maybe I'm too old, but there's like millions of people using this app.
My gosh.
It's pretty sick, right? And their pricing, where did I find them? Their pricing is like, it's like $3.99 a month or $36 a year. Yeah, something down here. You could see that.
Yeah.
But, so going back to this tweet, it was like 20, but I just picked 3. So do you want to see those first, or do you have any thoughts on this?
See. So you're confident that they're growing their business through TikTok? Or I guess that tweet said it, but you went and found out?
Yeah, I went and found I found their main account and then 3 other accounts.
Oh, so they're doing multiple accounts? Yeah,
multiple accounts that are affiliated. I think that's the play, is like these are these influencers that are posting about the app. So let me just show you one. I think it'll make sense. So this one is a guy called Caleb's Journal. Don't know who he is, but let's just look at the most popular ones. And obviously, and actually, I saw this interesting. If you don't want Locket content, wouldn't follow, which goes to show this is what this guy's posting about. So let's just look at one of these. 13 million views. He says, I'm crying. Hold on, I'm crying. My little bro asked me to get this when I moved out. And sure enough, it's the Locket app that he's kind of showing off. 13 million views. So that's one.
Do you think men are actually using this app, or they think this guy's good looking, so they want to use it?
A little controversial, but I would find it hard to believe that dudes are using this app.
Yeah, I mean, I would go in the comments and take a look. This isn't relevant, but in the comments, you probably see all women in there.
Yeah, so this one. You move away from home and your brother asks to do this together. Sure enough, the Locket app.
Oh my gosh.
One more. Let's just look at one more. Leaving for college. My mom made the whole fam get this. What do you think it is? The Locket app. And these are getting, I mean, I obviously started for the popular one, but 13, 4 million, 2 million.
God.
Crying because my mom asked the whole fam to get this. What do you think it is? The Locket app.
It's the same thing. He just he flips his phone, shows his phone, and does it.
And it's kind of the same, like, I'm crying, I'm emotional, and I'm crying, literal tears.
It's almost like a bait and switch too. Is like by the 4th time you watch this, you're like, God damn it, the Locket app again.
Yeah. What the fuck? The Locket app again? That's funny, actually. But so that's just one. So let me show you just another one. But there's this one, Kaya's Lens. Let's just look at popular. The app of the summer, 8 million views. What do you think it is? The Locket app.
Same. Not only is it the Locket app, it's the same exact format where
oh yeah, you're right.
It's one line and then it shows the screen.
Yep. So like it's surf. I wonder if these people are real. That's another question. But millions of views, hundreds of thousands of views. My best friend did this.
Me. Has something to do with their attractiveness too, right?
For sure. 100%. And let me just show you the last one and then we'll comment on it again. So this one, Morgs, Gabrielle. Don't know who you are. Attractive looking person. How my life looks when the other girl was saying the same thing. Like, he finally deleted Snapchat and downloaded this instead. Constant updates. Moved away from college. Does that sound familiar? We still do this every single day. What do you think it is? Locket app.
And do they have a link in their bio or how are they? I'm curious how they.
That's interesting. They don't. Not this one. Some of the others I'm going to show you do.
Either getting paid on views or something.
Yeah.
Because it'd be hard to track.
Yeah. These are just 3 of, I mean, I saw like 15 of these accounts that are more or less doing this influencer marketing thing for the Locket app.
Oh my gosh. This is amazing research. And
yeah. So back to the numbers, right? 1 million downloads a month, 300K per month.
And number 13 social networking app in the App Store. This is crazy. I mean, it just shows that there is no secret. This is the best kept, not so secret thing that's working for apps. And every time I talk to founders, I'm getting on the phone doing a lot of interviews with founders. They're always sharing this story. I just talked to someone who I can't share who it is, but they got to 1 million in 90 days, 1 million MRR in 90 days or ARR in 90 days through a few strategic TikTok formats.
That's crazy.
So I have this calculator. Okay, so if you want to figure out how much a business is actually making, it's actually really simple. You have to make some assumptions on certain things because not everything is fully researchable, but it's pretty easy to get an industry standard. So this is my little calculator here, and you guys, I'll put a link in the description so you guys can plug anything into here. You can use this for your own app, your own idea, or just to test and check out what other apps are making. Do you know how many views or impressions this app is getting?
That's a good question. According to this tweet, it said 150 million views.
150 million. So I'll type that in. 150, 123, 123. And then how many downloads were they getting? You said it was 1 million per month?
Yeah, 1 million a month.
So that would be like 0.7, I think. Yeah. So if they're getting 150 million views, what percentage of those are converting to downloads? And that number right there is actually 0.7%.
So not even one.
Yeah, less than 1%. That makes sense, right? How many people watch the thing and just scroll over and move on to the next one? So a low app download rate makes sense, and also shows you can back your numbers into this. And if you wanted to build a business that made $100,000 a month, you can go and put your numbers in here. Then the next thing that I'll look at is, well, what we know for sure is how much money they charge. What was that number there?
$3.99 a month at 36 a year. Some just at 36.
$3.99 a month. So let's say $4.
Oh, yeah.
A month. Yeah, $4 a month. And then what we have to figure out is what their paid conversion rate is. So if they get 1 million downloads, what percentage of those convert to paid users? I actually don't know. So I will go into ChatGPT and I can search, what is the typical conversion rate of a B2C app in the iPhone, in the App Store? Yeah, I'll type that in and it'll give us a range probably. Bridge App Store page view to install the sign up onboard user, 1 to 5%, often less than 2%. So let's just be conservative and we will plug in that they are doing a conversion rate of 1%, maybe 1.5 we could do. And you can see how much money this business is actually making. So then the other one that I like to put in there is churn as well. Churn is not that important for when you're first starting out, but you can see how this business will grow over time. So I'm going to actually ask what the churn is too. What is the typical churn? And churn meaning how long do they stay on? At what percentage of customers fall off? Because it is a subscription app. Typical monthly churn, 5 to 10%. Good churn, less than 5. Excellent churn, less than 3. So I maybe will say that they're a 6% churn. So on 150 million impressions, 1 million turn to downloads, 15,000 of those turn into paying customers. I think that number could be higher if they had a certain paywall, but that means that they get 63,000 in new revenue. But that isn't 63,000 per month. That's 63,000 in new revenue per month. So if you put it in this table here, because it is a monthly recurring revenue business, you can see how much the MRR grows each month. So if you were to start this business today and those were all to stay constant, by the 12th month, you would have a $500,000 per month business. Yeah. And you can see what that looks like here. By month 30, you'd have almost $1 million per month business. That's the power of a recurring revenue business. As long as you can keep those numbers constant, sure. That's not guaranteed, but that's how I can see how much money this business is making.
That's wild. Obviously, the huge assumption is that this all continues, right? That the attention and all that continues. But there's certainly a period of time, like we said at the beginning right now, where maybe this is really working.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're going all in on this if I'm that business, right? Hey, this is working. Let's go. Like push. That's what David talked about, I think, in his YouTube video, was outreaching to as many of those people as possible and getting them to promote your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't do it now, it'll be too late by the time you get it to work. So the best founders are the ones who really make it, are the ones who act with urgency. But what I think is also interesting before we go into the next one is, I think one thing that also changed too is that there's more so a willingness to pay for something like this. Because I remember a few years ago, pre-COVID, where we just all work from home and we're all digital and a different generation for sure. I remember when apps would charge money, nobody would pay for them, right? Because most apps were free and people were just not willing to pay for digital things. I just remember that, oh, you paid for an app? Why would you pay for something that is usually free? Google's free. All these things are free. But nowadays, people are willing to pay for the Locket app. They're willing to pay for digital solutions apps and things like that. And obviously there's billion-dollar companies built on apps. That's one of the bigger changes too. And I think of why is this working now? Is there's this combination of algorithms changing and consumer willingness to pay. And that's like maybe like the deadly combo right now.
Like we said, it reminds me of the Cal AI guys, that you interviewed a while back. I think this was part of their strategy that I saw, hiring a bunch of like fitness influencers to use their app and getting a bunch of downloads, growing to however many millions.
Okay, but before we move on to the next one, I do want to share one little thing, shameless plug. But these TikTok examples, these businesses that are growing like wildfire, they're proof that the most important thing for your business is attention, right? Features don't matter. Product doesn't matter anymore. Attention is the name of the game. By attention, I mean marketing strategies that get eyeballs on your product, simply sharing your product online, and just testing your product in public and getting feedback and getting validation from real people. When you get attention on your product, it solves all your problems. It will tell you if you have a good idea. It'll tell you if you don't have a good idea, and it'll give you the information necessary to either fix it or double down. That's why at Starter Story, we have the attention database. Inside, dozens of examples of real world posts that you can use, copy and paste to grow your business. I've seen members of Starter Story use these templates, get tens of thousands of views, thousands of customers. It works. Just like the examples we showed, doing the same things works. Just head to the first link in the description if you want to get access to it. Our team is adding more and more every day when we find stuff like we're talking about today. All right, now back to the episode.
All right, let me show you the next one. Yeah, so the next app is called CoupleJoy, and it's a relationship app. I don't know, love tracking and long distance, whatever. Cute widgets, things to chat with your partner about, 8,000 ratings. Let's look at the Sensor Tower data. So according to this, we're getting 500,000 downloads last month. Similar revenue, and it says 19 in the lifestyle category. The pricing on this one, where is it? There must be different types, right? But $12.99, $13 to $40 a month. I'm sure there's something about like the amounts of messages or whatever you can send. So similar to the last one, I found a list of 10, 15 TikTok accounts, and I just dug into a few that I thought were interesting. So it's going to be no surprise, but they're all going to be kind of similar. So here's this one, Nessa and Ruby, CoupleJoy content. And we were talking about the link, right? CoupleJoy.app/Nessie. Okay. Let's just look at these. This is like crazy, right? Like hand over face. We found a secret way to get connected. Let me guess what it is, Nessie. It is probably the CoupleJoy app. CoupleJoy, days together, blah, blah, blah. There's that one. Another one, hand over the face. You're telling me I've been in a long distance relationship? Oops, I think I skipped it. 2 years, just found out this app lets me send messages to his lock screen. What do you think it is? CoupleJoy. So that's like all of these, right? And so similar. Hand over face, something shocking is happening. But let me show you what the shocking thing I just found is, and it's that app. So that's one example. Here's another one. This means like living a long distance relationship. Nice. And it's similar. We'll see you tomorrow. And this is actually a slideshow, and it's the CoupleJoy app.
Oh my God.
3 million views, 3 million views, 1 million views, 2 million views. And then the last one is, I don't know, Kenna Daily. Don't know who you are, Kenna. I'm sure you're cool if you're real, but similar. Distance, CoupleJoy app/Kenna, pictures with my beautiful boyfriend, millions of views, thousands of views, another similar hand over face thing. So you kind of get the point there, right? It's like all of these people are doing the same thing and getting millions of views. And in this case, they do have let's see what happens here. Yeah, it takes them to download with obviously the reference probably, or the tracking link.
Yeah, I mean,
that's CoupleJoy.
Clearly this is working. And the CoupleJoy and the Locket app have two things that I noticed that are the same. Is that they like to show off the feature where you can put something on your home screen, customized, right?
I think that's a newer feature on iPhones too, by the way.
That's what I was going to say. And like, I share with a lot of the Star Story members about, like how can you find a business idea that takes off? It doesn't sound like a crazy change in the world, but iPhone adding customization to the home screen enables new businesses. Never before could that be done, but it's cool because everyone stares at their iPhone and pick up their iPhone 100 times a day. That is the quote unquote killer feature that may enable these apps to have grown so fast. I think that's is actually something that you could probably do for anyone that's looking for business ideas here. How could you do that for founders? Could you put your revenue MRR on your home screen, connect it to Stripe? I've seen someone do that before. Or let's say you are, I don't know, put your net worth or finance. Or the other thing that I think that I want to mention, if we can dive even deeper than just, okay, here's a couple of cool TikToks. There's another thing I noticed about these two apps and their style is what I tell Starter Story members about too, is the importance of intent. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people think, oh, I'll just go post on TikTok about, what I had for breakfast that day, or I'll post about even the problem that I'm solving. But if you don't actually, every single example you showed me that has millions of views, and clearly what's working for them is they address the problem, or they have some sort of hook or something like that, and then they switch it and they show the actual app, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine if they did that without showing the app, you wouldn't care about the app. You just care about the person. Every single video, they show you the actual app in use or being used, or they're associating the problem that they're solving or whatever with the app. That's really important. I see a lot of people not do that. So they'll create, hey, me and my boyfriend, we're doing long distance, but then they don't show the app. Nobody's going to know about the app, right? The intent is really important. So if you just, share with people what you had for breakfast that day, but you don't show them your product, then creating content, creating TikToks is pointless, right?
Yeah, no, that's such a good point, right? Because you can go viral on TikTok or Twitter or whatever for some stupid shit you say or some hot take. Yeah, which happens all the time, which maybe, something crazier could get 20 million views or 100 million views, but something with intent will get you more users. That reminds me of right on Twitter this week, there's been the whole, have you seen this? Like the fitness guy.
I saw this a little bit.
Saratoga
Ashton or something.
Yeah, Ashton. You're right. Ashton Hall. But there was no intent behind this, right? Maybe there was. I mean, the tips for men, he did end up linking his stuff here, got 6 million views there. But I don't know. My point in bringing that up is just the intent maybe of these TikToks is more direct than just some crazy influencer posting his daily thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Not that we're in the business of giving advice or whatever, but that people should do, that people should be cautious of, that maybe who cares? Just go for it if in this world kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn by it, to be honest. I think there's something that's a little bit unethical about creating content that is purely designed to be algorithmic and is potential. Some of the examples that you shared have potentially bad intentions. If that person's saying I'm going to college every day when maybe they're 26 years old and they graduated college 4 years ago. I don't know if that's the case for that one, but I can see a world where that becomes more normalized to just create content for the sake of content. And it's a different generation for sure, but there does something, I do have a bad gut feeling about doing that. But at the same time, short form content is entertainment at the end of the day. So, is this real or is this fiction? If I watch a movie right now, it doesn't have to be real. It's fake and I can still enjoy it and be entertained by it. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I was thinking about to answer that question. Yeah, I think maybe it's just getting old where I'm just this is so fake and who buys this shit? I'm looking at all these apps and I'm would I ever download something off of it? This is for a specific target, right? I feel like I've been targeted for other things. There's an app I always see. It's called Opal. It's a focus app. Mm-hmm. And I've gone through the flow of let me click this link from here and whatever. So maybe it's just I don't resonate with these because it's not my target. But there's I'm sure other apps and TikToks that I've seen that have totally gotten me.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I think another part of this feels and this is obviously on me as a consumer or us on consumers is these are just kind of spamming us in our face every day. And you almost don't even see it, which is crazy. You don't, or I feel I don't see all the ads that I'm low key getting because that's kind of what this is, right? Yeah. I don't know what to make of that. That's kind of crazy to me. It's cool, I guess, but.
I think that's a good point is that These are just ads, right? Have you ever gotten mad about advertisement? Yeah, when the commercial comes on and you yell at the commercial how much you hate that commercial, that's okay. That's just a commercial. Like, who cares? And like, when you're right now, we're like hyper analyzing these guys' pages, and we're going to their page and we're seeing that they're doing the same thing over and over again. That's not the typical behavior of someone that's browsing TikTok. They're just browsing TikTok, and one of those might come up and it may catch their attention, and that's okay. Really, just maybe they should be disclosing that it's an ad in some way, or eventually these social media companies will do something about it and say that this is an ad. But at the end of the day, that's just an advertisement. Who cares? Move on with your life. Go touch some grass, and none of this stuff is real. So you might as well do it if you want to build a business and make some money.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, last one. This one is a study app. We see billions of study apps, don't we? This one is called Einstein Homework Helper.
Nice.
Just ace your exams, some kind of study tip, etc. 1,000 reviews. Funny. Scam, do not pay. Saved my GPA.
Wait, but it says scam.
Yeah, I guess so. That's funny. Okay, so according to this one, Sensor Tower data again, 70,000 downloads last month, so a little less, 90K revenue, 93 in education worldwide. There's actually a couple of, this doesn't matter, but there used to be like a different app called Feynman, and now this one's called Einstein. But let's go into their TikToks and find some people that are promoting this. So we got Study Bee Princess.
Yapping dog over there.
Yeah, can you hear her?
Yeah.
Shit, sorry. Yeah, I'm getting a delivery. She doesn't like anybody. Sorry if you could hear that in the background.
No, you're good.
I was trying to ignore it. Okay, Study Bee Princess. They are low key promoting this app. So it's the same playbook, right? The difference here is like they're kind of like, it's almost like there's these informal, like, what'd you get on your exam today? And what did you use to study? I got 68. Did you study a little bit? The one that did get an ace, what did you get? Or what did you use? Does it come up? That Feynman. Where's another example? How to use Einstein AI? What's your GPA? So that's one example. Let's look at Nurse Bunny notes. When someone says they use ChatGPT to study, I don't use that. What do I use instead? Einstein AI Einstein AI homework helper. What did you get on the exam? Blah, blah, blah. Einstein AI is what I used to study. And then, let's just look at one more.
It's the same girl. No,
you're right. It is the same, or similar girls.
No, that girl is the same. I'm a super recognizer, so I recognize faces. That's the same girl.
Oh yeah. That's fine.
On two different accounts.
That's funny.
There you go. Right? That's the same girl, no?
I think so.
Yeah. So it's fake. I mean,
totally
fake, but they're like pretending to interview people in the street. But
yeah. And then this is the playbook, right? Just over the shoulder, looking at my exam.
Wow.
Promoting Einstein.
I like this one because it's a little bit of a smaller one. I mean, I see 70,000 downloads, but number 93 in education. That's by no means small.
Right.
But if I plug that into my revenue generator there.
Bring that up.
Yeah, let me pull that one up. Because, the one that we showed was so big. It was crazy. It's a Locket app. Like, that's like pretty sick. But I want to see for someone who's watching this, who might, be able to build an app with AI in our AI Build Accelerator, which you should check out. We'll put a link in the description. What can you do with 100,000 views, right? So how many impressions did that one get? Let me share my screen here.
18 million views.
Okay, that's 18 million views per month. So that's a little smaller. That's like about 10 times smaller than the one we talked about first. I'm guessing that the app download rate is higher because, when you get to really big scale.
It says 70,000 views or downloads.
70,000 downloads is actually quite low. So I'm just going to get it to that point. 70,000, let's say maybe 0.4, 72,000. And what was I'm guessing that the conversion rate on that one is going to be high because people want to ace their test, right? Yeah. Just to be conservative, let's do a 4% conversion. And what was the pricing on that one?
Pricing was $12.99, $13 a month.
Okay, so that's more expensive than the $4 one. So take 13. And the churn on that one is probably pretty good, actually, because, they're in high school or whatever. So, and they need it for multiple tests. So yeah, the MRR on this one, it looks like they're probably adding 37,000 in new revenue per month with just simple TikTok strategy. And then I always like to look at my little growth chart because subscription businesses grow. Let's see, at month 12, they're doing 346,000 per month, which is about a $5 million business, maybe just a little less, but
crazy.
That's just helping people. It's an app for high schoolers, right?
Yeah, high schoolers or probably anyone.
Yeah,
in school. education,
even middle school.
college.
Yeah, huge market.
Those are 3 examples there. The takeaway for me is just like they're just running the same playbook. And we see that so much. I feel like we've talked about that before here. Find something that works and just repeat it over and over again until it doesn't.
Yep. And that's something that, we can talk about how it's unethical or, a little bit scammy, maybe whatever. But at the end of the day, this is what's clearly working. It's getting views. The algorithm is a lot, is serving people what they want to see. And I was talking to David Park, who started Jenny AI, which is like an AI writing tool. They do this kind of strategy for people who want to write their papers in college. And he kind of said like, well, people are actually just creatures of habit, right? I like to watch tennis matches over and over, and it's the same players. And to someone who's not interested in it, it's really boring and it's the same thing over and over again, but it entertains me. And I would have no problem someone putting tennis content in my feed or something like that, right? We're creatures of habit. And, it even goes to the top. Like think about, sports, like I mentioned, or for example, Saturday Night Live or The Tonight Show. They all have formats that work and they've done it over years and they're really popular. So maybe that's a way to think about it too, is like, if that's working, it's really not, creativity is really not, these aren't artists doing this, clearly business. And that's okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I think there should be like no shame in posting stuff or getting people to post your stuff, because our attention spans are so short, and just go for it.
Yeah.
That's kind of my takeaway, is like, in terms of getting attention on your product or whatever, if you're going to use these avenues like Twitter or TikTok or whatever, it's just being shameless about it. I think the last thing that I'll say is just like, it was interesting to see how, because these are only like 3 examples for each of these apps. I could have shown you 15. And so that's interesting to me, like the multiple accounts, all kind of shilling the same thing. I couldn't tell you what that does to the algorithm or whatever, but there's got to be something there where it's like, if it's just 1 or 2, maybe it won't show you as much, but if there's 15 or 20, there's something else there. I don't know what to make of that, but I think there's something there.
Yeah. David Park kind of maybe had a little bit of a conspiracy going, that they looked at like your SIM card to see if you're legit, and like, these accounts get deleted and banned sometimes. So if you lose one of them, then you have others to help back you up. So maybe it's a little bit of a hedge.
That's actually interesting. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Cool. And like I said, those were just 3. I could have shown you 20 examples like this. And went a little bit of a rabbit hole, and it was kind of fun in terms of like seeing just what these folks are doing. Apps are doing. Crazy.
Cool. Well, I hope this is helpful for people who are watching this. Thank you, Gus, for going and doing the research for you guys. Let us know in the comments if you like this format. We really dove deep into kind of like TikTok formats and short form formats, which, it's crazy to think about how much economic value is driven through just one format, right? We saw one format, Locket App format, get used across basically that format borderline created millions of dollars of value. One simple video. It's kind of crazy to think about how a company can be built off of content, where it used to be the other way around. So that was cool. What should we cover next?
Let's see what I find on Twitter this week.
Let us know in the comments if you want us to cover other marketing strategies. I thought that was really interesting. And we'll be back next week with another episode. Thanks for watching, guys.